welcome to the show. I'm glad that people were able to get the notice that I decided to go live again today. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Advice Day, so we do our Tell It Tuesday every Tuesday right here at 6 o'clock. But since this was kind of a bonus day, I'm not exactly at 6 o'clock because I'm on CP time. Because I just got this, the idea that I needed to do this, uh, you know, pretty last minute. So, let's see here. Let me think. Oh, the topic. The topic today, as you saw from the little graphic, we're going to talk about men that have this idea in their head that women, there's something wrong with modern women because they're not like, Donna Reed or Leave It to Beaver's mom and all this kind of stuff that they used to watch when they were kids. Hey, everybody. And this has come up numerous times. I mean, as you go along the channel, and probably other channels too. I don't really have time to look at other people's because I'm too busy trying to deal with mine. But this is a common thread. Guys complain a lot that women are not like they used to be. But I'm like, okay, well, when are y'all like you used to be? Now you want women to pick you up and propose to you, and you want us to have a job and work full time, and come home and still treat you like a 1950s sitcom. Oh, no, 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 nigga, no. That ain't happening. And so this video, I kind of wanted to go over some of the things that they like to say, and we're going to discuss them. I'll be looking for your input, which I will try to stay on top of so I can read it and incorporate it into what we're talking about today. Oh, yeah, they do delusional. They drunk, high, crazy, off their meds, just all kind of stuff is going on. But let me read this. I was going to use this in the advice letters tomorrow, but I decided, no, this needs to be a separate thing because this topic is too much for the series letters. So let me proceed to read you the bullshit. So this young man writes that he's lamenting, the loss of his fantasy. What in the world happened to the women of today compared to, quote, the good old days that had much better women? Well, most women nowadays are the biggest cheaters ever since they like sleeping around so very much, which the good old-fashioned women of years ago were certainly very committed to their men since they were the best. Certainly explains why many marriages back then really lasted very long, which today many of them are failing. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the whole thing. Okay, then we're going to go back and we're going to dissect this, this paragraph by sentence by whatever. We're going to break it down. Paragraph number 2. It's very difficult for many of us good, serious men looking for a good woman today. Women are very high maintenance, independent, selfish, spoiled, greedy, and very money hungry, which they weren't like that at all years ago. Well, most of them weren't like that years ago, except the ones that came from a rich family that really spoiled them from the very beginning. Many women nowadays want the best and will never ever settle for less, which they will never go with a man that makes much less money than they make, which is very sad. Y'all can share this link since this is the last minute. Hurry up and post it on your tweets or whatever you're going to do because we need some women. I want to hear y'all's opinion on this. So please help spread the word with this last minuteness that I'm doing. Paragraph number 3. Society has certainly changed over the years, and so have the women, unfortunately. I really wish that I could have been born many years earlier, which I myself would have been settled down by now with a good wife and family that I still don't have today. Oh, I forgot to turn my lamp on. Excuse me for the darkness. Certain, I will add to that, if the girl is young, fit, and attractive, she doesn't have to have a good career and thinks she is God's gift because she has a million guys to pick from. I would give anything to have been born in the era when men worked and women stayed home with the family. More women were thin then and took care of themselves. The ratio was closer to even than what it is now. That is why most people got married, but now you see all these single mothers and tons of quality men that can't find a woman. I hate today's world. It's sickening. And that is the conclusion of his letter. Okay. I see a bunch of X's up there. Dang, he already fired. We haven't even started talking about dude yet. Do they? Yeah, they are rusty. They rusty, crusty, just dusty, all that. All that, like a checklist, all those things. So let's talk about this because, as women, we have a different perspective, right? Let us talk first about what man do you know that's today that's like how men were in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and this stuff that they're lamenting as being lost. What man is like that today? What man is going to go out and hustle? Who's going to build stuff, put up a fence, make sure his woman and children are in their own home? Who's going to hustle and do whatever he need to do to get shoes on their feet and food in their stomach? Even if it means he has to leave the house so they can qualify for AFDC. He's going to do what he needs to do to make sure his kids eat. Okay? Exactly, he doesn't know. This is a fantasy that they have, and it actually comes from watching television shows in the 70s. Because that was when, the 60s and 70s, they used to run all those Donna Reed shows. Remember Lucy and Ricky and the Ethel and Fred Mertz or whatever they were, and the Honeymooners, and all those kind of shows, right? The theme of those shows, even Peg Bundy and Al Bundy, the theme of those shows was the woman stayed at home and the man worked. The woman cooked and cleaned and she answered to her husband. Now, think about this now. This was a popular theme during that era. Why was it like that? Even though most homes were not like that, the only homes, black homes anyway, it was white folks that lived in the suburbs who had homes like that. So you got, poor whites and knickknacks sitting up there fantasizing that they're going to have a life like those middle income, people that could afford that kind of lifestyle. And, they had a new car, they had to keep it on vacation, the father worked, he did all the stuff, right? They're thinking that they're going to reproduce that television show, that's the ideal for family life, and that's the ideal for marriage. 2.5 children, a house with a white picket fence, and a wife who walks around with her hair perfectly coiffed in a house dress with an apron on and high heels. That's what they really think is reality. So, I'm reading this, right? And I'm rolling the fuck out of my eyes because, I'm old. So, I got to see this stuff when I was a kid. Most of these dudes that are writing this, they're guys in their 20s and early 30s. Okay, so they don't really know. They didn't really see it. Let me tell you what I saw from between my people in my family, the women in my neighborhood, my friends, my teachers, my friends' mothers and stuff. The level of depression amongst women was so fucking high, it was ridiculous. The level of death by by delivery, maternal death rate, sky fucking high. These men didn't give a fuck if the women could handle having a baby or nothing. They just, birth control. Remember now, the birth control pill was invented in my lifetime. I was in elementary school when that thing, I don't know, like first grade or something, when the birth control pill came out. So we're not talking a long time that women have had control over their fertility. They used to have to get backdoor, back alley abortions and risk death and stuff like that. But women saw that as a better option than having more kids and suffering the damage and the control that men would exert over them from having all them damn babies. They felt stuck. They felt trapped. And so they would rather risk death and dismemberment and mass infection and loss of fertility and everything else than to have another fucking baby. Now, you know how desperate somebody has to be to do some shit like that? I mean, you guys, really think about this. I mean, I'm going to be, going through this, but I want to frame this in the reality of what women were dealing with. Okay? With it, until the early 70s, it was still legal for a man to rape and beat his wife. Okay, there was no such thing as a law against that. A man could physically and actually could, under the law, rape his wife, and that was legal until the early 70s. So this is what I'm telling you. I mean, it's like, so these guys sitting here, they're lamenting this Norman Rockwell imaginary lifestyle that they think that, that they want to live. And for women, it was pure D fucking hell. Okay. So here they go. So we got a rapper in here. I wish we had some music. I wish we could hear it. I'm telling you, it's just so amazing to me when I see this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, but I'm telling you, this is the mentality of a lot of the guys, especially the MGTOW incel red pill people. This is how they think about women. This is how they think that you should be. That you don't have the right to be independent, and you need to lower your standards to accept what they want you to have instead of what you demand that you need. You shouldn't have those rights. You should be like the women of yesteryear that was happy to have a husband no matter what he looked like because he had a job. Yeah, they think they're the prize. They think we should be. Oh, she says, okay, this is Lady Gemini Love. These men think they are the prize. They think we should be lucky to have them. Most are liars, cheaters, and broke. And they think we should be happy to have that. It's ridiculous. Girl, sing it. Put that shit to music because that is some preaching right there. I'm telling you, I'm going to get out my little orchestra sticks. Because I'm telling you, that's exactly how they think. Yeah, children are a burden. But people used to live on farms. If you in the agricultural thing, the more hands you got working free to pick all them vegetables and fruits and, plant hay and carrots or whatever the hell you was doing, well, that was better because then you didn't have to pay anybody. So they wanted to have a lot of kids. But we don't live on farms anymore. And the lifestyles have changed. People don't need to have all them damn kids anymore. So you have, and it was in transition during that period of time after World War II. So people were leaving those rural areas and coming into the city because that's where the jobs were, right? Even the women, when the men were away in the war, women worked in those factories. Women are the ones building those bombs and sewing the soldiers' outfits and making the shoes and packing the cans of food and doing all the stuff that the men used to do because the men of able body and age were away at war. Okay, they were not here to work in the factories. So they decided that women could work outside the home. That was the beginning of society changing. So they're trying to say that they're trying to blame it on feminism. No, you did that to yourself. Because if you guys had not been such warmongering fuckfaces and gone over there trying to, fight people and get yourself all involved in a whole bunch of shit, starting World War One and, going to World War Two. See, all of this shit was created by men. Even though defending Pearl Harbor and all that stuff, which is what you're supposed to do, the bottom line is the change was initiated by men. Women were drafted into filling men's shoes because men were being sent to war. We didn't have a choice. Shit still had to happen in the country. The country still had to function. Women stepped up because y'all was over there fighting wars and getting killed. So, don't blame feminism for that. That started right after World War II. And that was all done by men. So you want to be mad at somebody for society changing and women becoming more independent and having their own jobs and having their own mind and doing stuff for themselves? You think about the men who decided to get you all in the wars, building all them bombs and doing all that shit. Men did that. Okay, just put the responsibility where it belongs, on men. So you're mad that society changed and you like all on the outside and you don't feel needed and women have demands and all that stuff. Men set you up that way, so you go be mad at them. Them old ass white men and them Japanese men and all them Germans and all them fools that decided that they should want to fight. Everybody in the world should be fighting. Those are the ones who did all this and destroyed half the planet, half the population of numerous large countries, and just fucked everybody over. So you guys must not know history. You don't know history. See, Deb reads everything. I read everything. I just read, even stuff I'm not even interested in. I still read it anyway because I never know, especially when I started doing this, when I'm going to need some facts to pull out of my ass to shoot some shit down. And this is when I was reading this. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. No, no, my dear child who must be a high school dropout. You need to go back and read some history books and understand when the United States and European culture changed. It was because of the war, and the war was started by men, and it was nothing to do with feminism. Okay, feminism came after that. Feminism didn't come around until the 1960s. The war was in the 40s, okay? Late 30s and 40s, early 40s. So, how you going to blame all that societal change on feminism, which didn't come around till 20, 30 years later? You're tripping. You're tripping. A whole generation later. Yeah, they're destroying the whole fucking planet. The environment by eking away. You're killing the animals. You're killing the way to protect us from the sun. You're changing the whole way that Mother Nature works. The oceans, the life forms, the plant life, everything that gives us oxygen and water and helps us survive. The men are killing it all. All of their greed is killing everybody and everything on this planet. If we have another 100 years here, it'll be a fucking miracle. And that's what I seriously believe, that the way that everything is changing, the planet's either going to be burning up hot and no life will be able to be sustained on the surface, or it's going to be icy cold, which I don't see. It's everything's getting warmer instead of colder. So that's just kind of an aside, but I just want to point that out. Historically, the cause of what's happening in our society right now lies at the feet of males around the world. They did that to themselves, okay, being short-sighted. So now let's talk about, so then he says, women nowadays are the biggest cheaters and they sleep around. Well, let me tell you this. Women have always slept around. You just didn't know. Now, since the sexual revolution and birth control, women can sleep around freely. But we always slept around because that's what we like to do. We like to fuck. Now, if you're a man who's a good lover, then you're going to have a lot of women lined up to fuck you. You all who don't have a lot of women lined up and can't even get one woman lined up to screw you, will understand what time it is you can't fuck. You can't fuck, your dick is little, or you come in 33 seconds, and so nobody wants to fuck you because it's a disappointment and a waste of their time. So, again, that's your fault. Up your game. Read some books. Learn something about yourself. Go get you some medications or something that'll hold that shit back and make somebody want to sleep with you. Oh my God. These dudes are just too much. Okay, so then the women of years ago were committed to their men since they were the best. Who was the best, the women or the men? I don't understand that part. But let me tell you that what you call commitment was merely economic entrapment. The women were fucking economic slaves. They couldn't own shit. They were struggling to be independent from the men and have a life and be able to work and earn their own money. So here you are having some woman, she's trapped in the house with some fucking rugrat kids, snotty noses, and shitty diapers, and he keep getting her pregnant year after year, so she never can get out of this trap. Because you didn't have birth control, right? Remember, no birth control pills. And she she's stuck in this situation. They didn't have like daycare centers and stuff like that. Who's gonna take care of the kids? Now, by the time somebody had older kids, then the older kids would be stuck in a trap to take care of the younger ones if the parents had to go out and work in the fields or whatever, to try to earn some money. That's how they did things. Now, please explain to me where that's a benefit to the young women who are trapped in that. They didn't have them damn babies. That's their brothers and sisters. They couldn't even go to college. They couldn't do anything because they had to stay there and help raise kids that they weren't even theirs. So why do you think that this was some romantic thing that, with pink roses and butterflies and stuff? It was a fucking misery for women. Miserable. But men, they sit here and glorify this stuff like it was like, all so wonderful. I'm telling you, there was a book called, and I think they made it into a movie too, called Valley of the Dolls. If you've never seen it, I was ear hustling and my aunts and stuff, they was talking about it because I think at the time it must have been kind of a risque movie. I mean, by these days standards, it's like a joke, like a cartoon. But in those days, I guess it was, kind of like avant-garde and edgy. But anyway, what it was about was these women who were, like middle class and upper middle class and wealthy women, and how they were so depressed and so bored with their lives and so like caged and trapped feeling, they all started using drugs. The dolls were pills, like Reds and Black Beauties or whatever things they was taking. So they were like zoned out. They weren't like, crack fiends or heroin addicts or anything. They was, pill heads. And this whole movie was talking about how all these suburbanite women were on these drugs to try to help them deal with these marriages and the feeling of not being able to become the women that they wanted to be. It's a very, very interesting book. Or if you find a movie, I think it might be good for you guys to look at to get an idea of what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is like some bullshit. These men are tripping. So he says so that's why marriages lasted long, because the men would cheat, the men would beat them, they do all kind of stuff. But the women had nowhere to go. They had no money. They couldn't leave, so they had to stay there and suffer. And you call it that's why the marriage lasted. Well, yeah, it was lasting in length of time, but was the woman happy to be there? Did she feel like she wanted to be there? Was she madly in love with her husband and just like skipping every time she heard his voice through the door to hug and kiss him? No, she was trapped like a fucking rat. That's what she was. Oh my God, these men are just too much. They're too fucking much. Okay, so then he says it's very difficult for many of us good, serious men looking for a good woman today. What the fuck does that mean? Good. I hate it when black folks use that word. I hate it. 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 Oh, she did? I don't know. I never saw the movie. I just heard my aunts and them talking about it. And when I got a little older, I found a copy of it in a used bookstore and I read the book. But I've never seen the movie. But, I might look for it to see if I can see it sometime this week just out of curiosity. Sharon Tate. Oh my God. I didn't know that. See, look, somebody got some history. So he says, was okay. So we don't know what a good woman is. What is that? Okay, we no guy can really explain what is quote good, except it usually has something to do with the woman's coochie. What she does with that, then they rate her either bad or good. So other than that, I don't know what that means. So then he says women are very high maintenance. They're too independent. They're selfish, spoiled, greedy, and very money hungry. Okay. High maintenance. You know what high maintenance means? That means that she has boundaries and she makes demands on him to perform. That's what that means. They don't want to do anything. They want to just come in, sit on their ass, and just throw you some crumbs of affection and get fed and be sexed down and be loved and patted up and all that stuff. And they think that that's how a marriage is supposed to work. That you're supposed to be there to please them no matter how they treat you. That's what they think. These men like this anyway. Not all men, but these ones that I'm talking about. Okay, so before anybody's like, well, every man ain't like that. Why you talk like that? You just hate black men. You hate men. You just a misogynist. You this, you that. And it's like, you know what? Whatever that word is, misandrist, whatever. That's not true. Okay, I have to say this because people are stupid. If I'm not talking about you, I'm only talking about people who act like this, okay? If you don't act like this and you don't think like this, then how am I talking about you? See, that's the part that drives me crazy. I'm talking about people who think and act like this. If that ain't you, then we're not talking about you. Take your ass on somewhere and shut the fuck up. Don't come telling me nothing. Ooh, they get on my nerves. They get on my nerves. Somebody say the fact that they want to go back to those days shows how much they hate women and love absolute power over other people. Oh, it's not over other people, it's over women. They feel entitled to have control and power and dominate women. That's what that is. Who are these men? I don't know who they are. They're just some people who visited my blogs or who on my Facebook or who come here and make comments on the channel. I don't know them personally. When your mother bought a house and they asked her did she have a husband? Oh yeah, because I'm telling you, in my lifetime, it became legal for women to have credit separate and apart from their husband. It used to be if a woman applied for a credit card or a loan or anything, and she was married, her husband had to agree to it. He had to be on the application with her. See, all this stuff happened in my lifetime, and it's not like I'm all that old. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm in my 70s, 80s, and all this stuff. It's like this, I'm just telling you, this like a lot of societal change came around because of feminism and because of the civil rights era. They dovetailed each other. You can't really separate one from the other. So what we had for black women was we was getting, we had the double whammy. We had to fight to get our rights as women, and we also had to fight to get our rights as black people. So we was doing a double job during that whole era. Whereas men were just fighting for the race and the white women were just fighting, for women. But here we are, we in both camps. So we had to do a double, double duty. Did you have to go in and out while I'm doing my show? I mean, really? Taryn, I'm on the show. I don't have time to read text right now. All right. My daughter's getting on my nerves. All right, here we go. So here we go. So he says, well, they're selfish. How are women selfish? Because they want things for themselves, the privileges and the benefits of living, the opportunities, the pay for those things, and the rights for education and everything that men take for granted. How is that selfish? If a woman doesn't want to cook and clean for your ass like her name is Mabel, that's not selfish. You live there too. You eat, you dirty up the sheets, you piss all over the toilet, you eat dirty up dishes, you do everything. You need to contribute to that household. Especially she got her going to do a job all day, right? She working 8 hours a day just like you. And then you expect her to make lunches, drop off kids, pick up kids, hit the grocery store, pick up your shirts from the dry cleaner. You can't even do that. You stop and buy your mother a gift and a Christmas birthday card because you can't even do that. And she got to go and buy materials for the kids for their special school project and come home, start slinging pots and stuff, and then help the kids with their homework and their school project all at the same time. Clean up the dishes, put the food up, and give kids their baths, read them a story, double check homework, and then go to bed exhausted. That's what they expect. That's what a lot of women do. And they have the nerve to call you selfish because you want to carve out 10 minutes of your life for yourself. These dudes, I'm telling you. I'm just surprised, y'all, these women who be chasing these rings and talking about I want to get married. I mean, you really need to think about what it is that you signing on for. I've said this many times, but I keep getting new listeners, new people to the channel, and they haven't heard it before because there's too many damn videos on this channel, and I don't expect anybody to have listened to all of them and then remember everything it says. But I've said this numerous times. Y'all just look at the wedding, the dress. I'm having this wonderful honeymoon. I'm having this and that. Okay, after all that's over, what you got? What you doing? That's what you better be thinking about before you be walking around here talking about I do and accepting people's proposals. What you signing on for? What kind of life is he expecting you to provide for him as his wife? And what kind of is he going to meet your demands that you have for him as your husband? And do you even have any demands? 'Cause a lot of you don't. You just want to have a husband. You don't think any further than that about what you signing on for and the burdens this is going to be to you. You don't think about it. And that drives me crazy. So then he says that women are greedy and very money hungry, which they weren't like that at all years ago. He says, motherfucker, how you know what women were years ago? I make my Kermit face. These guys, this fantasy that they have that women, because these women sitting there starving. I used to my mother used to get a subscription to Life and Look magazine. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember Look magazine, but there was a story in there. I will never forget this story because the girl in the article wasn't that much older than me. Her name was Emma, and she was like lived in Appalachia. And this magazine went to her home up in the boonies, and they followed this girl for a whole week, and or even maybe longer. I don't remember that. But they had so many pictures of her life and this one dress that she had and the one pair of shoes that she had. And then how she would work in the cafeteria at lunch helping serve food so that she could eat lunch because her family had no money. And it turned out there was some part of the story, I don't remember what the details were, but some man, I think it was her father, committed suicide so that the family could get the insurance money so that, that they could eat. It was some dreadful stuff like that. And I mean, the poverty, The sheer poverty was just unbelievable. And the family had like all these kids, and this man kept getting this woman pregnant. They didn't have no money. They lived in this hut. You know, the kids are all barefoot and stuff, and got like one dress to wear and stuff like that. And I remember looking at this, and I used to look at that over and over. Now, that's why I don't even know how many years ago that was. I still remember that girl's name, Emma, and I can still remember her face and that picture of her wrinkled dad sitting there who was supposed to be a man in his 40s. He looked like he was in his 90s. That's how hard his life was. That shit is burned into my brain. And so when I hear men say that women, weren't money hungry, okay, you're not looking for no money. That's the kind of shit, the lifestyle that she's gonna have you in. Some dusty ass living in a hut, end up in the mountains and shit, burning log woods and walking around barefoot and pregnant. That's the lifestyle that they want to put you in because it's convenient for them. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. I want a nice place. I want a nice car. I want some nice clothes. I want my kids to not have to suffer like that little girl did, walking all these miles every day, even the cold and shit, with her one dress on to go to school so she could get some food. And she didn't even get to eat lunch on the weekends when school was closed. It was a I mean, it was a very revealing educational story for me. It was good for me to read at that age. But I'm telling you, it made such an impression on me about women and their choices of husbands, and how important it is for you, before you align yourself with some man and before you get pregnant and start having his kids, that you be very cognizant of the lifestyle that he's going to provide for you and those children. I picked that shit up at 7, 8 years old, however old I was when I read this article. I connected those dots because I saw the color pictures, big old, because those magazines used to be oversized. They weren't 8.5 and 11 by they are now. They were like, I don't know, 11 by 17. I mean, they were huge magazines. And so them pictures were full page pictures, and you could see the pores in this girl's skin and the lines and stuff in her dad's face. And I'm telling you, that shit was just unbelievable to me. So I looked at that and I made up my mind at that moment. Plus, it was reinforced by my dad. I would never be with no broke man. No man was ever going to put me in a situation like that where I'm going to be walking around with no food, living in a hut with holes in it, stuffing rags in my shoes, and trying to live my life, and my kids suffering like that. Fuck all that. So these dudes, trying to say that this is something, you got your standards are too high, and that you shouldn't be wanting a man that makes less money than you. Yes, I mean, you shouldn't want any man that makes less money than you. He should make twice as much as you do, at least 1.5 times more, because otherwise, I mean, what's the point? What's the point? You don't take on all the burdens of everything I just said, and and have the expectation to work every day just like he does. Come on and do all that second shift, and then think that he's supposed to make less money than you, so that you have to do all of that shit plus make up the difference financially too. What the fuck did you get married for? What is that? And don't tell me love. Yeah, that's struggle love. I'm telling you guys. I mean, people are like, well, you shouldn't have talked. This is a romance channel, and you shouldn't be talking that mean about it. What about the love? What about this and that? Love don't feed you. I mean, that woman, I'm sure, loved that man. That's why she got with him. And look what it got her. And it's like all this stuff, women all over the world in love with motherfuckers and living in poverty and starving to death and having commit suicide and stuff because of the stress, dying in childbirth because they can't afford to get prenatal care or see a doctor because they man is so fucking broken poor. No, no. Yeah, what is the fucking point? Add fucking to that. What's the point? What is the point? Stay single. You know what could work? I mean, I'm not saying you got to be gay. I'm just saying, you get in a place like, say you and two or three of your single friends, y'all go in together and you buy a house, like a multi-level townhouse or something. Bedrooms on each floor, big kitchen, entertainment area, backyard and stuff. Pool your money, y'all do that. As one person wants to leave, you buy them out. Okay, they take their money and then they could go buy another house. You do. That's how Asians do. How they be packing up in a house, and then once everybody leaves, everybody got a brand new house full of furniture and shit. That's how they do. That's how they work together. Black women need to start doing that. Okay, you got these young sisters, they making all this money and shit. Tie your shit up legally. You know what I mean? Don't be stupid. Go get in a lawyer, make your agreement and stuff. Y'all pool your money, buy you some property. Y'all live in that shit. Get your value of the property up. Pull that out. Somebody leave. The other ones buy them out. That one, pull it out your money. You buy them out or you sell it and split it. Whatever you're going to do. but you keep coming up, and you guys stop thinking that you need to have a man in your life to be successful and for you to have something and to be somebody. You need to do that for yourself. And it's unlike a lot of unbrainwashing has to happen from young women hearing this stuff. Well, where's your man? Well, do you have a boyfriend yet? Do you have this and that? I mean, men can be good. They can be very beneficial. They can definitely add a lot of joy to your life if he's the right kind of dude. But what I'm saying is, you got to make sure that he's the right kind of dude. Don't just be blindly going into something talking about, but I love him though. But I love him. What about the love? Fuck the love. Fuck the love. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah, everybody does that. And they be living like 57 people in a 2-bedroom apartment, but they pool their money. See, they make giant pots of food. Everybody eating, right? We spend $20, and stiff 17 people eat off of that $20. They saving hella money, hella money. They bring their lunch. They wear shoes. They wear mismatched stuff. You see how them I used to call them Vietnamese outfits. You know what I'm talking about? They have like plaids and polka dots and stripes and shit. They don't give a fuck about fashion. But once they break out, they got the brand new house. They be wearing them Louboutins or whatever them shoes are with the red soles, and just like doing the thing big, because they did all that sacrificing when they were trying to get on their feet, and then once they stand up, the motherfuckers is racing. But we black people don't do that. Y'all don't live in the projects and shouldn't be wearing designer clothes and talking about, my baby got to wear Jordans. My baby got to do this. And you spending $50, $60 on some shoes the kid's not going to be able to wear but 2 weeks. That makes no damn sense. Black people's the idea a lot of women have about finances and managing money is very, very poor. And I can't really blame them because nobody taught them. It's the kind of thing that you teach your kids. But it's, read that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That'll give you some ideas about how to handle wealth and stuff for your kids. Okay, so then he goes on to say, many women nowadays want the best and will never settle for less, which means they will never go with a man that makes so much money than what they make, which is sad. Why is that sad? Why is that sad? Can someone explain that to me? Can you explain that to me? Why is it sad that a woman wants the best and will never settle for less? Why is that sad? Someone explain that to me. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not into designer clothes, so I don't know what's the style with the shoes. Okay, that's just what I came out my head. I don't know. Whatever it is, it could be, Smithy booty. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, that's what they want. The latest thing is what they want their kids to be in, and they will pay all this grand theft money for them, and then be flossing around the neighborhood with this shit, and and then they put on them for their kids. The kids get jumped. And the shoes get stolen by the gangbangers and stuff. You can't you living in the hood and you got them $200 sneakers on your eighth grader. What the fuck are you thinking? You should have put that money in a savings account for him. Not some shoes to wear on his back. Get his ass some shoes from JCPenney. Those are perfectly good shoes. I'm telling you. They over here clowning in the chat, but that's all right. But see, nobody, I'm serious. Like, if you guys can think of any reason why this makes sense, please write me. survivingdating@gmail.com, or you can also post it, under the chat. Under the video in the, comment section. I'm not understanding how he came to the conclusion that women always want the best and will never ever settle for less. Why that's a problem for him. What? I'm at a loss. So if you can figure that out, you let me know. So then he says, society has changed over the years, and so have women, unfortunately. I wish that I could have been born many years earlier, which I would have been settled down by now with a good wife and family that I still don't have today. Okay, you want a good wife and family. What makes you think that you qualify to have one? What about you would be something that a woman would want to marry and tie her life string to you? What are you offering? What you rolling with? You sound stupid. You're resentful because you have to have some money. What you think, kids just gonna eat grass and leaves? Kids need food. They need to go to the doctor. Babies go to the doctor. It seems like every time you turn around, they got something wrong with them, and you got to take them to the doctor. And it's like, even if you want your wife to work, that's daycare money. Do you know how much daycare costs? If you don't want her to work, you better be balling on the job, my brother. you better be making some hella bank. Few black men are on that level. So, your average Joe working at UPS or FedEx or Walmart or, some restaurant or some warehouse or something like that, he's usually not making that kind of money where he can afford to pay all the bills by himself and uh, and still thrive. It's like you're gonna be struggling because he's just making enough to get by. And in this economy where housing costs and food costs and petrol costs are sky fucking high, medical costs, all this stuff, it's really hard for people, just average working class people, to make it on one salary. So the women usually have to work. They don't even have a choice. So him sitting up here saying, well, they're too independent. Motherfucker, are you balling like that? I mean, what do you do for work? It can't be anything that good, because then in the same line he complains that the women get mad if a man makes less money. So you know what I mean? Like, we got these Google people over here making all this, close to $200,000, anywhere between 130 and $200,000 a year. These, engineers, these kids, game designers and whatnot, they making grand theft money, okay, by our standards. But so them in some other area, maybe not necessarily the Bay Area, they would be able to swing this whole thing, to pay everything by themselves. But your average person making, I don't know, 60 grand, they're not going to be able to do it because most of their money's going to pay rent or mortgage, insurance, and stuff like that. So I mean, it's this area is extremely expensive, and so you cannot poo-poo a woman who wants to make sure that she's gonna have the lights on in her house and food in the refrigerator for her kids. I'm not understanding why this is a problem with this dude. Okay, so then he goes on to say, I will add that if the girl is young, fit, and attractive, she doesn't have to have a good career and think she's God's gift because she has a million guys to pick from. Damn Skippy. And you know why? Because her RMV is high. What is RMV? That means romantic market value. That's what RMV is. So people who are young and trim and gorgeous and, have a certain look that men find attractive. They look good in their clothes. They look good out their clothes. They know how to talk shit and look sexy and pose provocatively and do all the stuff that men like. Well, she's going to have her pick of men, and the men that she's going to go for are going to be the men that provide the best opportunity for her dreams to come true, and her dreams are usually funded by cash. Okay, because ain't nobody dreaming about, you dream about a yacht, right? You don't dream about a little rowboat that you got to, like a little rubber raft, but you got to row and blow up and stuff. Nobody's dreaming about that. So you got a man who can only provide you with rubber raft lifestyle, and then here comes somebody who's fine and handsome and educated, and he can provide you with a yacht lifestyle. I'm so confused. I don't know which one to pick. Yacht. Okay, that's how it's gonna go. So I don't know why these guys are so like, they tripping about it and not wanting to be judged that way. It's like, dude, get your game up. If you need to get to school, go to school. Get your shit together. You want to be competing in the romantic market for the woman that you want, a woman of class, a woman that's going to satisfy you, make you happy, and that's got her shit together. You got to come with something. You can't come with this fucked up attitude like I'm seeing here and think that you're going to get the woman that you want just because you show up. You got to have something. This is a very competitive marketplace for men. Women expect more because a lot of the stuff that women used to have to depend on men for, now we provide for ourselves. The bar is higher. Okay, before you just have to have a Mickey Mouse little job. Okay, well now she got a job. Okay, so now that raises the bar. Okay, so now you got a car. Okay, well now she got a car. So now the bar is even higher. Well, you went to college. Oh, well, she went to college too. As a matter of fact, she got a master's degree. So now she's up above you. So now here's your earning power. Unless you in tech or something, she might be making more than you now. And as she goes up, she got a PhD, she got this, she got a JD. Okay, so she's making more and more money, and you still down here and mad because she's looking for a dude that's more on her level economically, socially, mentally, intellectually. Okay, and you mad. Oh my God. Well, see, around here, 120,000. Well, yeah, I guess it'd be all right, but I'm telling you, they did a survey here. I talked about this on the show a few weeks ago. They did a survey here in the Bay Area, the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. You're considered low income with $117,000 a year income. So you talking about 120 as husband material? That's low income around here. Can't do shit. That's why I drive a used old car that's already paid off. I'm not trying to have no $800 a month car note. I got a new transmission put in my Honda last year. I got a new timing belt. I got new tires from Costco. I'm gonna get my car like buffed out and stuff because got some little dings and stuff in it. My car runs like it runs just as good as it did when I bought it. My car is how old is my car now? I think like 15 years old. You think I'm tripping about getting a fucking car note? I'm gonna run this bitch until the wheels fall off. I'm serious. Condos, they last a long time, and I'm going to keep this car until I can't keep it no more. Because I like to look at my bank account and see money. I don't like to look at my bank account and see $1,000 going out every month for a vehicle. Okay, I don't like that. I'm just I like to have like a whole bunch of zeros in my account. That means more to me than driving a fancy car. As long as my car gets me where I need to go and back dependably, we don't have no problem. Your truck is see, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to, girl. I'm about to have like hyperventilating looking at what she just typed. She said her truck payment is $650 a month. See, no, that's how much I used to pay for rent back in the day. I can't do that. I'm telling you, I'm just, you got to weigh what it is that you want to do with your money. Because once I paid that car off, I knew I wasn't getting no. I paid it was like $400 or something to get the transmission done, and I got some front end work done, and the undercarriage and all that stuff. Replaced some parts of the drivetrain, and I mean I did a whole bunch of work on the car, and but it drives now like a champ. I'm telling you, I press that gas, that car takes off. The transmission guy who did the transmission work was fabulous. I cannot say enough good things about him. Coliseum Transmission, if you live in the Bay Area, take your car there. Them people know what the fuck they doing. So back to the topic. So then he says, I will add, okay, so I'll say, I would give anything to have been born in the era when men worked and women stayed home with the family. Well, let's talk about that too. There were a lot of jobs in those days that did not require men to have an education. And they paid very well, like car manufacturing, plants, food manufacturing plants, airplane manufacturing plants, pipe plants, all this kind of stuff. The country was much more of a manufacturing oriented type of industry based plants and factories and stuff everywhere. So it was very easy for a man with a high school education or even no degree, no graduation, no what they call diploma at all to get a job that paid relatively well. You know, those days is over, homie. So you thinking you gonna get a job like that? The competition is extremely fierce. You see what's happening to the coal miners. That's like one of the last bastions of that kind of lifestyle. But there's the demand for coal has fallen, so they're in the high competition. They was looking for Trump to open up mines so they could have some work and make some money. He lied. That shit didn't happen. I think like 15 people got a job. So it's like you guys are looking at this fantasy where you live a lifestyle like you used to watch on television when you were a little boy. That is not reality. And this is a problem I have with men so much. They look at television and movies and want to project that into the real world. It's like they can't. Men seem to have a real problem differentiating between reality and fantasy. It just really bugs me. I just be like bugging. Like, it's so common that, it's an issue with the male mentality. I don't know. Psychologists would have to explain it to me because I don't get it. It's just a pattern that I've noticed. So then he says more women were thin then. You know why they was thin? Because they was starving. Because their husband didn't make no money. So they had to eat like a potato and a lettuce leaf and some carrots for dinner. They couldn't afford meat. And remember, after the war and stuff, the people left the farms and shit. And so then, it took a while for everybody to come back and all the meat manufacturing plants and everything to get up to speed because they were sitting doing, everybody was eating rations. Remember? So, yeah, women was thin because they were starving half to death. Everybody had rickets and shit. Some people with teeth falling out and stuff. The nutrition was bad. So I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. And so then he says that's why most people got married, and now you see all these single mothers. Okay, well, whose fault is that? Men are screwing them, they ain't marrying them, and so then they leave the woman and they leave the child, and that's what creates a single mother. So don't look at it like women are getting magically pregnant by, going dinka dinka dink, and, they just magically get pregnant. A man got them pregnant. Not one person on this planet was born without a sperm and an ovum coming together. Whether it happened in a laboratory or it happened in somebody's bedroom, it happened, and a man was involved in some way, shape, or form. So he, and in 99% of the cases, because very few people go into sperm banks, these women that you see as their single mothers that are struggling, some man put them in that position. He talked them into having a baby and then he abandoned them. That's what happened. That's what I'm telling y'all. Y'all need to be smarter about this. I know it sounds very pragmatic and it sounds very unromantic, and I really don't give a shit, because my thing is, you need to think about the trick bag that you putting yourself in, listening to some knick-knack talk about we need to have a family, and especially these hoteps and these, black nationalists. They just want to have women to have a whole bunch of babies. They don't care about what happens to the babies after they get here. They don't care if the kids starve to death or beaten to death, if they out in the cold and freeze to death, if they go into foster care and get abused to death, or if they just die from malnutrition. They don't give any fucks about all of that. If the kid doesn't get proper medical treatment and dies from some illness that he could have got a shot or antibiotics for, oh no, they don't care about any of that. All they care about is the fact that you as a woman, they feel it's your job, your sole obligation to breed a bunch of babies that you can't take care of, and they don't want to step up and do it themselves either. They want to put it all on you, and they condemn you when you say no. When you say, no, I'm not going to do that, then you get cussed out and called all kind of names, and then they put up these posters and memes talking about the most dangerous place for a black child is in a black woman's womb. No, the most dangerous place for a black child is in your dick, because that's where it needs to stay. They get on my nerves. Oh my God, they really, women, just like that, women have got to stop being so emotional. You guys have got to stop reacting so emotionally to everything. You just, oh, I feel this and I want this and but no buts. You turn this on and think. I mean, if you need to get your piece of paper out and you start writing down the pros and cons of the decisions that you're about to make. If you can't do it just thinking it quickly in your head, write it down. Pros, cons. If I do this and then he leaves, this is what's going to happen. This is how much it's going to cost me in time, opportunities, money, physical, loss of physical beauty, because kids fuck your body up. So you think about all of that. You're going to lose your figure having a baby for some food that don't even want you and don't want the kid either. You're going to fuck yourself all up. You got to drop out of school. You can't work. You got to find a babysitter when the kid is sick. Then you're going to leave the kids with these raggedy ass boyfriends you have. You come back, the kids all abused and beaten up and hospitalized or dead and stuff. I mean, there's so many bad things happen when you guys don't pay attention to the lifestyle choices that you're making. Every single day you are faced with, you go to a door, and once you open it, there's a path that you can take. Okay, every door that you open takes you a different direction. Be careful about which doors you open. Okay, you'd open the door to pregnancy and single mamahood. That is a road of destruction and lost opportunities. You don't need to do that to yourself. You young girls do not need to do that to yourself. You some movie star, these women, they got billions in the bank, millions and shit. They own property worth 4.5 million, all that stuff. Okay, well, if they decide that they want to have a baby, they got nannies, they got doctors on call, they got, tutors and teachers that come to the house. They have all kind of opportunities for their children. What do you have? You living in a one-bedroom apartment, and you and the kids sleeping in the same bed because you can't afford a two-bedroom. You catching a bus because you can't afford a car in the wintertime, freezing out there on the corner, taking the bus. You and the kids shivering in the cold and shit. You turn off the heat at night and bundle up because you don't want the heat bill to be too high because you got to save money. See, all that struggle shit, just shit you didn't have to do to yourself. Oh my God. You just, we need to tell these girls this. And I get tired of these women that say, well, God will make a way. God don't put nothing on you that you can't handle. When they say the shit, I just want to grab them by the throat and just bitch slap them. Because it's like, why are you trying to tell this little girl this? You should be telling her, baby, let me get you in the car and take you down to the nearest abortion clinic because you about to fuck your life up. That's what you need to tell them. But no, that's not what they do. Well, a lot of I mean, like I said earlier in another show, I don't know, it's talking about the emotional loss of, these girls that have like nobody to love them when they're growing up, right? And so they want to have a baby because they feel like, well, at least someone will love me, someone will be there for me. And it's, they don't understand now that babies are takers. Babies don't love anybody. Babies don't. I mean, they pay attention. You laugh and you play with them and stuff like that. But that's not. I mean, they are just like little parasites. You give to them. They cried, "You better feed me. Change my diaper, bitch. What you doing, hoe?" That's how babies are. They're not tripping on you like that. And even when they're toddlers, it's like they're just very demanding, and then they turn into teenagers and get worse. And so these people having these kids thinking that they were getting all this, this love and this reward and all this cool stuff. It doesn't happen. And then they sit there looking stupid and they're stuck with kids. I saw this video a couple of weeks ago where this lady was on Facebook. She had done a Facebook Live and people sent it to me. People send me all kind of stuff. And this girl, she was sitting out. She was outside her house. She said that she had to step outside because I think she had two or three kids, and she looked young. I mean, like mid to late 20s, and she already had two or three kids. And she's sitting there on the curb outside her, the little house where she was living, and she's crying like a baby since she had to leave them in there because she was so stressed out. These kids was getting on her nerves that bad. Now, see, this is what I'm saying. You got to train your kids. You can't, if you're going to have the little motherfuckers, you need to be diligent and be on their ass. You don't let them get away with nothing. If you say sit down, their asses need to be moving to the nearest chair. If you say shut up, they need to be zip. This kind of thing. If you say be quiet, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take me a hot bath. Don't you do shit till I sit down here and watch this movie. Then that's what they need to be doing. You don't sit at the table, you're going to eat your food. I don't want to hear a peep out your mouth. That's what they need to be doing. But you guys don't seem to have that kind of firm that spine. So you just let your kids do whatever the fuck they want to do, and then they get a little older and they start getting on your nerves, and you have a situation like that where she's outside at the curb crying. You have to be a beast, with your kids. You gotta be a beast. Is that better? I don't know what I'm doing with my light. It's bad. Um, so that is what I wanted to say about this particular topic. Yeah, it was very sad. Oh, you saw it? Yeah, I was just like I was choking back tears. I could just feel her her agony and her wish that she could go back in time and undo the decisions that she made. So that's why I want to be telling these young girls, some little bug, telling these young girls, think. You got to start thinking. Don't just go through life reacting and being all emotional about every damn thing. I'm telling you, if you envision your life as a series of doors, okay, if you open this, just like in Let's Make a Deal, what's behind door number one? What's behind door number two? What's behind door number three? Just sometimes you are going to make a wrong decision. Or it might not be so wrong, it just might have been, not have been the best one. You can go circle back around and get to back where you need to be. But if you constantly choosing the wrong door and it takes you on some path, some track that's way away from the path that you need to be on, you may never get back to where you were supposed to be. So I want you to stop and I want you to think about what you're doing before you do it. I don't know how many times I've said this. You guys have got to do better. You young ladies have got to do better. If you start making better decisions, thinking about yourself, don't think about some nigga. Don't think about your mama. Don't think about your daddy. Don't think about your friends. You think about, if I do this thing that's behind door number two, what path am I going to be on? And I want you to remove emotions from that, and I want you to use this. And if you need to, like I said, get you a pencil and piece of paper out there, and you start thinking really hard about the choices that you're going to be making and how it's going to impact you long term. Because anything, especially as a teenager, it's like when you're in junior, what you do in your junior year is what is going to get you in the college that you want to. You got to think about that. When you're a sophomore and a freshman, okay, that's your years to fuck around. By the time you get to be a junior, your ass better have your shit together, because that's the year that counts. That's the year that it counts. And so, that's the door. Okay, so you don't go through that door and you fuck over your junior year. Well, just think about all the opportunities that you have now lost, and you can never get those back. Now you could go and circumvent around, go to junior college and go through, do all these other changes and stuff, but that's years that you didn't have to spend doing that. You could have just went straight. You see what I mean? You could have just went poof, 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 Like, you know how the Hulk runs in that movie? Poof, poof, poof. That could have been you. But instead, you got to go climbing up mountains and digging under tunnels and doing all the stuff to get to where you could have been if you just went through that door and hit it hard and just ran straight. So, that's how you have to think about it. What's the path that I need to be on? What's going to get me there the fastest, the quickest, the easiest route? And that's the route that you take. And stop getting all caught up in all these emotions and try to be, thinking that all this other stuff that you want to do in this ghetto mentality a lot of people have about having all these fucking kids is something that you need to do. Stop breeding like a fucking bunny rabbit. Stop it. If you ain't married to a motherfucker, you don't need to have a kid by him. Unless you got at least $100,000 in the bank, you don't need to have a kid either. Kids are expensive as hell. And if you have a kid, what if you have some medical complications and you can't work for a while? Then what you gonna do? You sitting up there, you got $100 in the bank. That ain't shit. That's not gonna do nothing. You need to be having hundreds of thousands. And you start your retirement plan. One of these days, I'm gonna have to talk about money because you young people, you in your early 20s, you finish college, that's when your ass needs to start your retirement account. But we'll have to talk about that one day. Maybe I'll find a financial advisor. And yes, I do have wine today. I have water too. I have mango flavor of my LaCroix. Those of you who know, this is my favorite drink next to wine. So I drink at least a couple of cans a day. Yeah, that ghetto, maybe people are like, well, you shouldn't call it ghetto. I don't know what else to call it because that's the area where I see it the most. Okay, there's, because people who are more educated don't tend to have that value system and that thing. They don't live in environments where that's the norm. So unfortunately, if you have a kid that grew up in an environment where people are poor and that's where that's what they see, for them that's normalized behavior. And what I'm trying to do is tell these young women, read some books, get on the internet, look at around the world at the lifestyles that people lead who have money and who have done something with themselves. They're not stuck in an apartment, in a tenement unit with rats and roaches and shit, and the landlord turns the heat off and on at will, and they hear loud noises and people smoking and cussing and drugs and needles in the hallways. They don't live that kind of lifestyle, and they have those choices because they have made better choices for themselves that take them out of the poverty mindset. And there's a lot of people that, you could get out. I mean, you might not be a big baller, but I'm telling you, you have to create opportunities for yourself. If it's two or three of you young women, y'all got your shit together, you come to agreement. No niggas in the house. Okay, you ain't gonna bring no niggas that gonna be spending the night. You go to their house. No niggas in the house, especially if there's any children in your house. They do not ever come to the house. That's your rule. Okay, just the women and the kids in the house. If you all want to go do some stuff with your man, you go to his place. He does not ever come there and spend the night and putting the women's safety of those women and those kids at risk. I don't care how nice you think he is. That's what happens to all these women and they come home from work and their kid is dead. So, you know what I mean? You always think that they nice, but then the shit happens. So what I'm trying to get you to do to think about those kinds of things and choose the right door to go through. The door that does lead to pregnancy by Nick Noggs that don't have shit, got 4 or 5 other babies, my baby mamas, and no job. His hair is in braids. He got red eyes from smoking weed, sagging. He ain't about shit, ain't got shit, ain't gonna never be shit. What are you doing? Why are you choosing him to have a kid with? You're dumb. Stop doing that. Oh my God, it drives me crazy. Well, I mean, like I said the other day, background checks only tell you what they got caught doing. It doesn't tell you what they actually did that they didn't get caught. And a lot of shit, like, in the black community, they got that no snitching policy. So niggas will get away with all kind of crazy shit, doing all kind of horrible, egregious things. And you will never know. Unless you know somebody who knows them who's going to tell you, but most people are not going to tell you because of the snitch factor. So it puts you in an odd position. So that's why just take your time. Just take your time. And, dig, ask questions, watch, look, and listen. There's just no reason for you to rush into stuff. These girls be there, well, I dated him for 2 months and I'm 1 month pregnant. What? What are you doing? Or, this is my boyfriend and he just, some other woman pregnant and, the woman ain't even had the baby yet, but you calling him your man and now you pregnant too. I mean, all kind of just niggnoggery going on. And that shit drives me crazy. I just see those stories all the time. It's like, what are you young girls doing? What are you doing to yourself? Why are you choosing this path? It drives me crazy. Yeah, background check is a start. But don't be resting on your laurels thinking, oh, because it came back nothing, that means he's Mr. Perfect. Don't believe that for a minute. That just means he's Mr. I ain't been caught. That's all that means. Yes, no to roaches, no to mice, no to all that stuff. That see, yeah, that snitch thing. I'm telling you, that'll fuck you up because the kids get caught up in that. They getting abused, and the folks in the family don't want to tell on the person because we got enough black men in prison. No, we need to have one more. So, I don't have that thing. If you do it, I'm going to sing like a canary. I'm going to tell it. I will post it up on my social media. I will send out tweets about it. I will put your picture on blast. I will do everything. I'm going to tell it like my name is, I don't know, Tell It Tuesday. I'm going to just be telling it. But, everybody's not like me. Some people just have, this false sense of loyalty to knuckleheads, and I just don't understand that mentality. Most people haven't been taught. I know, Tanika, and that's what I'm trying to do here. That's why I really need you guys to help spread these links and get them into the hands of the young women who need them. Because one thing I noticed, I was traveling around Facebook, and I mean not Facebook, YouTube. Just kind of look. How they give you the reference videos on the side. And I saw, okay, now on this channel, we have excellent, highly educational, well researched, well thought out content that helps women once they find their way here, right? But when I go look at the view counts of like stupid videos where black women are being abused by men, they're being denigrated, they're being called horrible names, the men talk about them like they have a tail, they'll have hundreds of thousands of views. And when you look at the comments, most of those are from women. So the women prefer to go to some channel where they're being berated, demeaned, and degraded than to come to a channel that is uplifting them and embracing them and educating them on how to be better, do better, and make situations better for their children. And that is very curious to me. So the only thing I can say is, it must be because they haven't found their way here yet. I'm going to stick to that, because if it's because they are, consciously choosing to listen to ignorance and listen to the stuff that damages their self-esteem and that attacks them, then that is very telling, and that's kind of heartbreaking, and I don't know what to say about that. So, if each one of you ladies and gentlemen in attendance today, please post this link somewhere. Post this link where you think some young women are going to see it. I need your help to do that. They need your help to do that, because this is just, I can't do this by myself. I can talk, I can share all this knowledge and information. I can research my ass off. I can pour over medical journals and psychological reports. I can get all the research stuff. I'm a very good researcher. I used to work as a paralegal. I could do some research. But it's like, no matter what I do, if it doesn't get into the hands of the people that need it, the help factor is very limited. And that's my goal, is to help these girls see that there are other ways to live. There's other options. Just because this is all you've seen as you were growing up in the neighborhood that you grew up in, your family, whatever, that's a very small corner of the world. You can do so much more. You can be so much greater. You can just be so much of a more wonderful, well-rounded, smart, well-traveled, happy person, and without limiting yourself to the dregs of what's around you currently. You don't have to be like them. They're going to try to pull you down into that muck and mire. Do not let them. So like I said, you imagine your life, every time something comes up to your way, it's a door. 1, 2, 3. Which door are you going to choose? What's behind those doors? You're not going to always know, and sometimes it is going to be a guess, and sometimes, like I said, it's going to be wrong or the not necessarily the best. But if you at least think about it and try to weigh the odds, because you're going to have more information than those people do on Let's Make a Deal. You're going to have, some knowledge about what options are available to you. So you're not going to be choosing options blind like them. You're going to be making choices based on the information that you have available. So you need to make the best choice that's going to take you where it is that you want to go. All right. So I'm going to, rest myself, because where's my thing? I got to find my new graphic, my new outro, because, I will be back tomorrow um, with the Tell It Tuesday. We're going to be here talking about advice. But again, you guys, please share a link, become a subscriber if you're not already one, and tell your friends about the Debsterism channel. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any suggestions for topics, send them to me at survivingdating@gmail.com. And love you all. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Right here, 6 o'clock.